listen up. And the crowd don't wake it up. The atmosphere has vibes, and nothing can break it up. The girl never wind up slow. We had the drinks them in a right cup. We gonna party all night.
See what I mean? It's real, people.
24 parties we in a
This is
row.
real.
Tonight at the very last show. Before we ever come through, the girl never replace the room. So let me see your hands up, so everybody know what you're.
Everybody give it up for Constance. A little bit louder for Constance. A little bit more love. Yes. Awesome. Feel free to come to the front right here so I can like reach out and feel your energy more. It's all good. If you can't, if no worries, but if you can, there might be a time where there'll be like 8,000 people and you're never gonna get this close. So this might be a good opportunity, might as well enjoy it. I'm just being silly. But it is cool when you come closer. So what I want to do is I want to spend a lot of time just mixing and mingling and getting to talk to you and one-on-one, hearing your concerns and hearing your issues and things that you think are important. So I'm going to leave time for that. So I'll just do like about a 10-minute talk and just some things that are important and a lot of thank yous, and then I'll get into actually speaking with you one-on-one and hearing your concerns. Sound good? All right. Excellent. Love it. First of all, how's it going, BC? How's it going, Vancouver? Feeling good? So I shouldn't say this, but I love BC, and Vancouver is like my backup city. So if things don't work out for me in Toronto, I've already made plans, and this is my new home, so I love it out here. Thank you, thank you. So first of all, thank you. Thank you to everybody. It was an incredible journey. It was an awesome, awesome leadership campaign. And it wouldn't have been such an awesome campaign without all of you. All of your energy, all the volunteers. Doesn't matter what campaign you worked on, the fact that you were engaged, that you were part of this amazing journey. I want to thank you all for being a part of it, for supporting candidates, for supporting progressive politics, for supporting New Democrats. Can you give yourselves a round of applause? Thank you. And I think it's also important for us to acknowledge all the leadership candidates. So Peter Julian, Nikki Ashton, Charlie Angus, Guy Caron, all of them were phenomenal. Let's give them a collective loud round of applause. They were awesome. They were so good. And I'm really excited to make sure that not only the leadership candidates themselves, but also all the teams know that each and every one of the leadership candidates and their teams are vital parts of our movement. And they will be treated as such. They will be involved in as much of a capacity as possible. I want everyone to feel that they belong, and not just the members of the teams and the candidates, but their ideas. You know, Nikki talked a lot about precarious work, talked about free tuition. We're going to make sure those issues are on the agenda. I want to thank her for raising them. Charlie Angus brought Indigenous justice and reconciliation to the table as an MP for years. He used his leadership platform to talk about it as well, and that will continue to be a big part of what we do. Peter Julian's been a long-standing advocate for environmental issues, for disability rights, and that'll continue to be a big issue. And Guy Caron, obviously, is our parliamentary leader. Let's give him a round of applause. It's pretty awesome. So did you know that there's only ever been one other parliamentary leader in the history of the New Democratic Party? And guess who that was? Anyone know their history? Bill Blakey, that's right. It was Bill Blakey under Jack Layton. That was the first time. Before that, when Alexa Madonna was leader, she didn't have a seat, but we weren't official party status, so we didn't actually have a parliamentary leader. So the first time was with Bill Blakey, and the second time in the history of our party is now with Guy Caron. So pretty cool. Give him one more round of applause. It's really exciting. Awesome. And so I want that. I think that's a very important thing to do, to make sure that everyone is acknowledged and their importance is going to be there. And Guy Caron, of course, he talked a lot about basic income, talked a lot about tackling inequality, and that's going to be a big part of what we do as a team. So I'm going to talk to you about some of the issues that are really important that we're going to talk about, and I want to give you a bit of a vision for what we're planning to do. So one of the things has got to be clear, and it's a part of why I ran, and it's a part of why I think we need to work so hard. If we want to make this country a more just place, if we want to tackle issues like environmental, climate change, if we want to tackle reconciliation and do it in a meaningful way, if we want to really tackle the inequality issues that we see that are just growing, the housing crisis, if we want to do something concrete about them, We have to be in power to make that happen. We have to be in a position of power to make those decisions, to actually uplift people and tackle poverty and lift people out of poverty. We need it. That's absolutely, it's a fact. And to do that, what we've been too stuck on for a while is in opposition, naturally, what do? We oppose. And we're going to oppose certain things. We're going to oppose the privatization agenda. To me, it's completely unacceptable that our public infrastructure should be owned and operated and built privately. It doesn't make sense. We need to own our public resources. Unequivocally. Absolutely. And so the privatization bank that the Liberals are talking about, not just to blindly oppose, that is going to be something that is going to be devastating to people. When you privatize public resources or public infrastructure, what happens is the question is no longer about accessibility and affordability. It all becomes about profits. And who suffers most are marginalized people, people who are poor, and that's why we need to oppose it. They even want to privatize airports. And we know that when they privatize something, it's going to make it harder and harder for everyday folks to be able to access those services. So it's not acceptable. So we will oppose those things. We will oppose things like having a finance minister who somehow forgets that they own a French villa. I don't know the last time I forgot that I own a... I don't know how you do that. How do you forget that? That's a special life that you live when you can forget those type of things. On top of that, in provincial politics, as a member in the third party, every one of my caucus mates, we all knew that if you're a minister, at a minimum, the public expects that you put your resources in a blind trust to make sure that there is no even perception of a conflict of interest. You don't want your decisions to be made in a way where people can suggest that you are trying to benefit yourself as opposed to Canadians, the people of the country. And the fact that the finance minister doesn't get how horrible the scenario is when you are an owner of millions of shares, not like 2 or 3 shares, $1,000, millions of shares of a company that wants to transform pensions from employer risk to employee risk, which is already a bad idea, if I'm honest. Your company does that. That's what your company does. And you have shares, millions of shares, and you just put it into a numbered company, which any first-year lawyer knows is no shield. You're completely in control of it. And then you propose a bill that advocates the exact same type of pensions that your company deals with, and you have millions of shares in that company. Without getting really deep into it, right? Without really being analytical, just on a surface level, that kind of looks a bit shady to me. Got to that if you like, sure. And the thing is that what happens when people do these types of things, they erode the public trust. What happens is people become cynical about politics. And when people are cynical about politics, people are less likely to vote, to get involved, to participate. And when they don't participate, guess what happens? The status quo is maintained, and the very same people who made cynical decisions that made people apathetic in the first place continue to be in power. And that's why it's so fundamental. And people are like, why are the NDP raising this issue so much? There are bigger issues. No, this is a fundamental issue of public trust. And we want people to know that leaders in our community are making decisions in the best interest of Canadians. Even if it's a party that we don't necessarily agree with their values, at least we should know that the ministers aren't making decisions that benefit their own personal wealth. And there should be even an appearance of that. And that's a big issue. So we will oppose those issues as well. But we know that people don't vote on opposition alone. We were one of the best opposition parties in the history of our country in the last election. And being the best opposition party in the history of our country alone meant we got 3rd place. It's not enough. To get people to vote, people need to be inspired. So it's not enough just to propose. So I think it's important, we gotta propose, but the next step beyond proposing is to inspire people. That's where you get people to be a part of your movement. That's where people feel excited and energized and activated. You have to inspire people, and that's what we need to do, and that's what I need your help. We have to find ways to make people's heart beat faster. Talk about issues in a way that's compelling, compassionate, and we have to bring empathy back. There's no way that the right should own empathy. We should own empathy. We get the struggles that people are going through, and we are going to do something about it.